Chapter 12. You've got to be kidding me. After removing the fake Santa for the second and hopefully final time in her lives, she wasted no time to secretly plunder his secret stash of letters at night. She had resisted the temptation to check them beforehand in case he would notice something was amiss. With his removal, she had free rein to act as she wanted. The letters did not indicate anything about the foundation, so she hoped she eliminated that possible disaster ahead of time. No robbing the foundation for you this time, Georgine. Take that! The events following her assassination of the fake Santa surprised her slightly. She had expected for Ferdinand to become the new High Bishop. It only made sense if you asked her. But somehow she was elevated to the position of High Priestess in turn. Why? Who in their right mind would elevate a 6-year-old girl to a leading role in the temple? The same man-child that chose her to become High Bishop in the last weave, apparently. It was on Aub's orders. Damn you, Sylvester. She did not need that much attention on herself, damn it. She kept a low profile for a reason. Fulfilling her new role as High Priestess, she made her way over to the High Bishop's chambers. It was time to bring the poor victims of Bezavan's tyranny back to the orphanage. She had already ordered a meal for them upon their arrival. Hopefully it would soothe them at least a little bit. She was fairly unprepared for Delia's reaction to the news, but she should have expected it. She was always very sensitive about the orphanage to begin with. At least she got another attendant out of it, and she was not completely brainwashed at this point, so that was a plus. Her attendants were excellent as always. The time it took them to organize her sudden departure to her new chambers as the new High Priestess was truly astonishing. They even assured her she could just simply sit back and read to her heart's content. So it came as quite a surprise when Yenny interrupted her newfound reading time. She looked quite pale too. Is everything all right, Yenny? Her current head attendant simply smiled upon her question, regaining some of her coloring. Nothing you need to concern yourself with, my lady. I am just here to inform you, we just received a letter for you. I was told it is from your family, your mother, Lady Roslyn, specifically. Yenny handed her the letter, the seal bearing a simple depiction of an arch with 2 small flags at the top, all surrounded by a shield and 2 spears crossed in front of it defensively. The emblem of her birth family on her father's side in this lifetime. The Torwachter family. Ah, that's right. My current name would be Rosamine Tochter Torwachter. What did her family want from her? Did word get out of her growing fortune thanks to Rinsham? Did they want the part of it? Did Henrik snitch her out and they disapprove of her contract with Frida? Maybe they knew of her elevation as High Priestess and sought to use it to their advantage? She had so many questions now. Thank you, Yenny. I will withdraw to my hidden room. You may return to your other duties. As you wish, my lady. She beat a hasty retreat to her hidden room, where she could freely react to whatever news it entailed. Entering, she plopped herself down into her comfy cushioned chair, and after preparing herself, opened the letter. It was filled with flowery euphemisms on how much her mother was regretting to have been forced to give her up to the temple after birth, followed by the fact that it was the fake Santa who had contacted them about the fact her mana had grown to acceptable levels for her status just a day before his departure for the Harvest Festival. I should have killed that waste of space during the spring prayer after all. She of course knew she was not in the least prepared enough at the time, not to mention she was hesitant to interrupt the distribution of the small chalices, but the thought soothed her somewhat. She focused back on the letter. It went on about how, now that the High Bishop had suddenly been killed, they feared for her safety and the actions Ferdinand would no doubt possibly take against her in his new position without protection. They further lamented her being forced into her new position at her tender age. "That is already common knowledge. Sylvester, you idiot! At least wait to announce something like that until the winter season. I would be baptized then." The letter ended with an invitation to stay at their estate for a few days, in 4 days' time, citing they were hopeful she would accept. "As if I can refuse." Laying the letter down, she stood up and began to pace the room. This was too early. She barely had time to prepare for any of that. What should she do? Kill them too? No, she needed to join noble society, so why not use the offer? It was faster than anticipated, and she had hoped to integrate herself more to Ferdinand to eventually be adopted into the Lindberghs again. Oh well, she would simply work with what she had, as always. Hannelore would have had the time of her life if she saw me panicking like that over such a simple matter. Pull yourself together. You got this. This is nothing. She calmed down. She had to inform Ferdinand she would be away for a few days. She needed to ask him some other stuff about this anyways. She left her hidden room and informed Jenny to send a message to him, requesting a meeting and highlighting its urgency. He agreed to meet in 2 days' time, which was fine. She was busy enough already. 2 days later, she arrived at their meeting, and after giving their greetings, she directly got to the heart of the matter. She had no time to waste on their usual dance right now. "High Bishop, please forgive my unsightly demeanor, but can we forsake the dance of Grimoritor for the moment?" He simply raised an eyebrow. "That is unusual from you, but acceptable. What do you want to tell me, Rosamine?" "My family sent me a letter 2 days ago. They made their wish known to me to visit them at their estate in 2 days' time from now. Additionally, they requested my stay for an unspecified amount of days, citing their desire to refamiliarize themselves with me. Finally, they voiced their desire for my potential rejoining the family, being baptized under my birth mother, Lady Rosalind." Ferdinand's eyebrows rose even further. "Were you not sent to the temple because of your low mana capacity? Why the sudden change of heart?" "The former High Bishop was of the opinion that my capacity has grown to a sufficient amount in my time in the temple, and informed them of this circumstance before his departure for the festival." He had a slight processing error again. She simply waited until he recovered enough to continue the conversation. "Grown? How?" "I do not know. I was never made aware of any tests or something of this nature. I speculate he was impressed with my contribution in the last dedication ritual. Nothing more comes to mind, but as I said before, this is pure speculation on my part." "I see." She waited a few moments for him to fully digest her previous statement before voicing her question. "So, as you can see, it could be possible for me to rejoin my family officially. I would think this also means I would potentially leave the temple. Seeing as it was Ob Ehrenfest himself who graced me with the honor of becoming the High Priestess after your ascension, I am unsure what would happen. Could you please enlighten me on the matter, High Bishop?" Ferdinand simply began to tap his temple. "I will bring it to his attention post-haste. Do inform me should you really leave the temple, but I do not think this will pose much of a problem for you. We will simply find someone else to fill your position if such a thing happens. I see, that is good to know. Now, regarding the orphanage, I invested my personal fortune to build a functioning workshop there, which produces the current bulk of its self-sustainability. I am willing to let it remain as is and donate an appropriate percentage to the temple, but the main share of the profits will flow directly back to me. This is the current case of procedure that was agreed on from all involved parties. Is that still acceptable, or do we need to change the current contracts? Please do think about this until my return, High Bishop. We never spoke much about it after it was implemented. How much are we talking about currently? She gestured towards Rosina, who had accompanied her to the meeting, to hand over the wooden board holding the desired information. Upon checking the board, he had another processing error, until he held his head in apparent pain. You cannot be serious. It produces that much. Until more workshops have been established by my merchant associates, the number will grow even further, High Bishop. I project it will fall rapidly following their creation, though, so the number should stabilize soon. The next summer season, probably. Very well. With this, she returned to her chambers and began to prepare for her departure. The current efforts for her new chambers were on hold after all. On the day of her departure, her attendants were all in on her appearance. She still wore her blue robes, of course, but it was the best they could do, given the circumstances. They had only to wait a short time until the carriage arrived, which would bring her to her family's estate. It was time. Exiting the temple, she saw an elderly woman standing beside the carriage. She gave off motherly vibes, even if she wore the usual noble smile. She introduced herself as Mathilde, the current head attendant of Lady Rosalind. After saying her farewells to her current grey attendants until her return, they made their way towards her possible new home. Her growing anxiety could not be helped as they arrived. Mathilde led her into the spacious mansion and to the entrance of a room likely designed to welcome guests. She steeled herself. This was it. Entering the room, she finally got to look at her supposed birth mother. She could not believe her eyes. This was just more confirmation that the gods were fucking with her because of her actions. This had to be some kind of cruel joke from them. She could not hold on to her decorum, not anymore. You've got to be kidding me. She had jade green as a hair color, green eyes that twinkled in joy upon seeing her, a warm smile growing across her face at her reaction. On the couch in the center of the room sat none other than her mother, Lady Rosalind, who was none other than Aoife. Mom?